As the death toll from the coronavirus epidemic in mainland China soars past 1,000, with a record daily rise in fatalities, Hubei, the epicenter of the new coronavirus outbreak, remains in virtual lockdown, with its train stations and airports shut and roads blocked. Meanwhile, British Airways has said all its flights in mainland China will remain cancelled until the end of March, as the government continues to advise against all but essential travel to the country due to the outbreak. BA said that flights to and from Hong Kong would continue to operate as normal, and that the airline would be contacting customers to discuss the possibility of rescheduling or rebooking planned travel. In New York, a 5-foot-tall promo bot descended on New York's Times Square on Monday, February the 10th, to inform the public about the symptoms of coronavirus and how to prevent it from spreading. Curious passersby stopped and completed a short questionnaire on an iPad attached to the robot's chest, and even had a conversation with the machine.
I am an autonomous robot who can talk to people on their language.
I just think it's very clever. It's really, really clever.
Promobot was created by a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania-based startup run by a group of Russians. The company's chief business development officer said the company makes autonomous service robots for businesses.
We did a special software for detect coronavirus symptoms, and we bring a robot here today, and he is speaking with people. He helps them to detect, do they have coronavirus symptoms or not. We understand how that problem is important, how people are nervous, people are afraid of this. But if they will understand few simple things, for example, what symptoms do coronavirus has, what they should do for predict, everything will be fine and everyone will be happy.
So far, 5 people in New York City have been tested for the virus, with 4 cleared and 1 pending. Here in Nigeria, authorities say the heightened screening across the 4 international airports is ongoing. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is showcasing its first all-electric experimental aircraft called the X-57 Maxwell. NASA, which is known for its popular space launches at the Florida base, is developing the aircraft at its lesser-known aeronautics lab in the California desert. The X-57 Maxwell is adapted from an Italian-made Tecnam P2060 twin-engine propeller plane.
So we're starting with just a basic general aviation airplane here. It gives us something to start with. We don't have to spend a lot of time designing an airplane. So what we're doing is we're just focusing on the electric systems today. So what you see here is a Tecnam airplane built in Italy, and we've modified it with all electric systems. So that's where the focus of our testing is, to look at that. So as time goes on, you'll be able to see these technologies actually move into real commercial airplanes as companies come in and build these for commercial products that people can use.
X-57 has been under development since 2015 and remains at least a year away from its first test flight in the skies over Edward Air Force Base. Along with the aircraft, a new simulator is ready that would allow engineers and pilots to get the feel of what it would be like to maneuver the finished version of the X-57 in flight.
It's very exciting for us. So I know for me and Tim Williams, the other pilot that's going to be flying it, for Armstrong to be getting back into the crewed X-plane work is very exciting for us. It's cutting edge technology, so we're really excited, and we're looking forward to the challenges. We're going to, smartly get it done, and hopefully what we produce will be beneficial to the community.
The Maxwell is the latest in a proud line of experimental aircraft the National Aeronautics and Space Administration has developed over many decades.
So there's a number of interesting new markets for electric airplanes. The first one's called urban air mobility, and there's many companies trying to get into this area. So if you think of like an air taxi, imagine a taxi, but in 3D, a vehicle that can lift off the ground and take you around a big city, say 20 to 50 to 100 miles. So that's a really interesting application for electric vehicles.
While private companies have been developing all-electric planes and overcraft for years, NASA's X-57 venture is aimed at designing and proving technology according to standards that commercial manufacturers can adapt for government certification. While electric aircraft like this is undergoing development, the biggest challenge, however, remains that of improving battery technology to store more energy to extend the plane's range with faster recharging.
When you look at airplanes moving on a map like this one in front of an air traffic controller, you get the feeling it's sheer motion. It may look like an abundance of aircrafts moving to and fro up in the air and that it's due to some unexplained miracle that they do not clash. No, it's not the case. What you're looking at is the highest level of safety, a well-known characteristic of aviation. On the air side in Lagos, planes line up for takeoff and some come into land, no thanks to the guidance of navigational aids. The air traffic controllers say things are better and the present administration is investing more.
This very government has deployed a lot of huge investment to upgrade facilities. I can quite agree with you to bring in Cat 3 ILS to the 4 major airports now. These are issues that have been on for decades. Some say we don't need it. Some say, oh, why? But now this government has taken the decision to put Cat 3 ILS in the 4 major airports. For me, it's highly commendable.
Techniques used for navigation in the air depend on whether the aircraft is flying under Visual Flight Rules, VFR, or Instrument Flight Rules, IFR, which include ILS Instrument Landing System, VOR, VHF, Omnidirectional Radio Range, DME Distance Measuring Equipment, NDB Non-Directional Beacon, LB Locator Beacon, DF Directional Finder. The DME, as a distance measuring equipment, is one of the most simple and valuable nav aids to date. It's a basic method using a transponder in the aircraft to determine the time it takes for a signal to travel to and from a DME station. Here in Nigeria, the installation of the Category 3 Instrument Landing Systems distance measuring equipment for the Lagos airport is at the calibration stage.
You install them, you power them, and then you do a ground calibration. That essentially tells the installers that they've finished installation. And from ground calibration, they can actually have a fair idea that it will be correct, that it will do what it's supposed to do.
Power supply for the Cat 3 operations is also sacrosanct.
A lot of aviation is based on equipment. Even the terminal buildings have equipment. For us in NAMA, navigation equipment, the airplanes, as users of this, their equipment, and there can be failures. But I think the issue of safety is likely a factor of, are we doing things in such a manner to make our airspace safe?
When the planned Category Instrument Landing Systems in Lagos and Abuja airports become fully operational, they'll be expected to provide relief to members of the flying public because they have the capacity to reduce flight delays and cancellations.
This is where our show comes to a closing. See you next week. I'm Bukola Joe Itumbi.